Hollywood star Jennifer Michalski is partnering with Studio 7 to create what horror fanatics are calling the best slasher franchise of this generation. In an exclusive interview with Cinema News, Michalski admitted to always wanting to break into slasher films, but consistently finding herself pigeonholed into action. She expressed overwhelming gratitude towards Studio 7 for helping her break into the coveted genre with the new film Weeping Willow. The Emmy winner will not only star in the movie, but is also the co-producer. We asked Michalski what this new role means for her. You need to work well with people to be a producer. It's a fast-paced position that requires you to wear many hats at once. When you're acting, you can be an a-hole and run away to your trailer when things don't go your way. Eventually, someone comes to stroke your ego and bring you back onto set. As a producer, you don't get that luxury. As a producer, you're in charge of making things happen. Weeping Willow is a psychodrama where a nurse is thrown into a secret community that thrives on body horror. A haunting portrayal of self-discovery and self-sabotage in an age when everyone is watching. It is no surprise that writer and director Martin Weasel's new movie was a disappointment. After struggling through his premiere film, Dogs from Hell, I didn't have high hopes for anything that comes from his pen. I was surprised, however, at just how poorly constructed this film was. You'd think after the initial Dogs disaster, Weasel would have at least learned from some of his mistakes. But alas, I would argue that Night of the Zombie Plants is an even bigger failure. The opening scene of the movie is absurd, and not even in a fun, campy way. The idea that chemical waste could cause flowers to uproot themselves from the ground and feast on human brains lacks any logic at all. The script is strangely pretentious for something clearly absent of clarity and plot. It makes a desperate attempt to say something meaningful about our impact on the environment, but falls instead into the nonsensical jaws of the human-eating petunias that populate this tripe. The acting was as atrocious as the writing. If you told me he pulled a group of strangers off the streets of LA and cast them on the spot, I'd say you gave too much credit. I was shocked to see Patricia Vale perform so poorly in her role as the botanist protagonist, considering her stellar performance in Werecats 2 Claws Out. It's safe to say that it takes an especially bad director to make someone with this caliber of talent look this bad. Weasel took to his top.social account in a whirlwind of rage, quoting, "These critics are too dense to see the backs of their eyelids when they close their eyes, let alone a cinematic masterpiece when they're shown one. I feel with utmost certainty that this film will be the worst thing to come out of this year. If I'm mistaken, Lord help us all." Every year, it seems to be plagued by recreations of well-loved movies that ultimately do nothing but leave a sour taste in the mouth of everyone involved. In the past year, no reboots made have received higher or equal ratings than their predecessors. This begs the question, why is Hollywood obsessed with reboots? We spoke to Blacklight Studios producer Angela Weber to get a look at the inner mechanisms of the movie industry. It seems that studios these days have only one thing in mind: money. Money is indeed a necessary and driving factor in making films. Still, when one loses the integrity of creating art, we are left in a film industry saturated with cheesy recreations of the same material over and over again. Until studios decide that quality is as important as revenues, I fear the industry will keep falling further and further down this rabbit hole. When asked about her involvement in the industry, Angela said she is very picky about the screenplays she accepts for production. "I refuse to consider a piece of work that lacks an original concept. The unfortunate fact is that not everyone is cut out to make movies. There are plenty of professions one may pursue within the industry outside of scriptwriting. Leave that to the professionals." If Ms. Weber's word is to be taken at face value, it seems the movie industry requires strict vetting. Perhaps then we will finally be free from the chokehold reboots and unoriginal plots have on the film business. Fall is a time for cozy sweaters, tasty coffee treats, and movies that leave your hair on end. With the best season of the year finally upon us, it's time to soak up some new scary films to get into the spooky mood. Here are 3 bone-chilling horror movies we're just dying to watch, coming out this fall. Shriek, can Maddie Fletcher, played by actress Amy Wales, evade the masked killers who refuse to leave her alone? Or is she doomed to die at the hands of some knife-wielding maniac? Shriek is a reboot of the classic film Shout, a genre-bending masterpiece that wowed audiences by taking a comedic spin on the classic slasher genre. Chainsaw Eyes. What happens when the Art Nouveau director Jean Leroux teams up with master of gore-filled special effects John Green? We can't wait to discover with the release of Chainsaw Eyes, Leroux's first foray into the horror field. The premise follows an orphan who loses his eyes at a young age, only to be the victim of a transplant that goes terribly wrong. Night of the Zombie Plants. The newest movie from acclaimed writer and director Martin Weasel, Night of the Zombie Plants, is sure to be terrifyingly successful. Follow botanist Jean Green, played by actress Patricia Vale, as she uncovers the truth about a government experiment gone wrong. Can she rescue a town plagued by flesh-eating flowers? Or will the environment finally fight back in revolt against all the damage the human race has caused?
You've reached Henry. Leave a message and I'll get back to you soon. You've reached Henry. Leave a message and I'll get back to you soon.